Okay, so as I was saying, probably either a cook or a chef, right? By the way, do y'all know what's the difference between a cook and a chef? Anybody knows the difference between a cook and a chef? Can I have somebody else? Yeah. Solomon?
Is it like a cook is an amateur and a chef is a professional?
Oh, okay, very good. A chef is a professional, right? Cooks can also be professionals, but chef is a higher degree of professionalism. That is true, Yuan.
A cook is like the one that makes the chef is the one that makes the recipes. A cook is the one that follows and makes the food.
Okay, very good. Cooks don't come up with new recipes. Chefs come up with new recipes. That's good, right? So a chef has a higher level than a cook, right? And why is the chef at a higher level than a cook? Because a chef, first of all, is in charge of the kitchen. Second of all, is in charge of coming up with new recipes and dishes, right? In order to make the menu change every now and again. A cook is simply responsible for making the food according to the recipe the chef has outlined. Yes, Jenny, did you want to add something? No, right? Okay, then let's move on. Okay, so he perceived the low mutters of the gatekeepers as meaningless noise in the distance. His mind was only preoccupied with what the old guard had said, right? So what did the old guard say? Okay, so in this case, let's connect what the old guard had said with this second paragraph. You must leave by tonight, okay? The old guard had instructed him. Now, the word instructed means something here. When someone instructs you, what does that tell you about the relationship between this person and the old guard, right? The word instructs you or instructed him. Dia?
The old guy like knows better, and he might be at a higher position than the person he instructs to.
Okay, so instruction implies more knowledge in being in a position of greater awareness, right? So the old guard instructing him has the idea of being someone who is more knowledgeable, okay, and trying to help, right? So he's trying to help this prisoner. The old guard is trying to help him. And this is important to note because you realize that in prisons, guards do not help prisoners. Do you all agree with me? Their role is not there to help the prisoners, at least in traditional prisons, right? Okay, nowadays, I think maybe there's some element of that. But generally speaking, guards are not responsible for helping prisoners, okay? Good. Okay, so let's move on. So be on the alert for the change of superintendents at midnight. The power of the electric fence will be cut off once I light a match. Okay, you only have a minute to climb over it and make your escape. So this is quite interesting here. Okay, so there are a few points here. Okay, one is power will be cut off once I light the match. Okay, then the change of superintendents at midnight. And then the space of a minute to climb over that particular fence. Now, what is happening in this paragraph? Can anyone give me a bit of a summary about what's happening in this paragraph? Okay, I want to hear some ideas. See whether you can summarize it. Solomon?
It is like a plan to escape.
Okay, very good. So it's a prison break, right? You all know that the term for an escape from prison is called a prison break, right? Okay, so in this case, right, there is this plan for prison break, okay? And it involves this old guard lighting a cigarette and triggering a sequence of events, right? Okay, so once the superintendents change, the cigarette is lit, the power is down, and then the prisoner will climb over the electric fence within 1 minute. By the way, do you all know what's a superintendent? What's a superintendent? Anyone? Don't know, huh? Okay. Anybody wants to guess or not? Okay, Kanish, you try?
Mr. Pang, I had a question for like the summary.
Oh, sure, go ahead. Yeah.
Can we say the old guard is corrupted?
Oh, so you're saying that this guard has been like bribed?
Yes.
Into the prisoner. Okay, possible. So if you want to add, right, then you might say that there may be some bribery or corruption. because guards are not supposed to help prisoners escape. So there could have been some collusion, some conspiracy, some bribery and corruption. Is that what you're implying?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. So we'll see. Yes, Dia, go ahead.
No, I wanted to answer for superintendents.
Okay, then go ahead. Tell me what's a superintendent then.
Since they put change of superintendents, does
Hmm.
that mean it's the guards or like the people who control the people in the cell?
Okay, so I think the word control or in charge is the key. Why do I say that? Because it's not so much the guards, right? That is the important point here, but who controls the guards, correct? So if I want to effect a prison break, I cannot just target one guard, right? I got to target all the guards. And the easiest way to target all the guards is to target the person in charge of all the guards. Do you all agree with me? So this plan hinges on their ability to take advantage of when there's nobody in charge, right? So when there's a change, right? Change means that one person is coming, another person is going. So there's a gap. Do you understand the story here? So one person has just left, the person in charge has just left, and a new person in charge has not yet arrived. Okay, there's a change at midnight. So during midnight, that 1 minute, right, there will be a timer when nobody is in charge of the guards, and the guards won't know what to do if something goes wrong. So they are taking advantage of that period of time between the movement out and the movement in, that 1 minute, right? Then they'll cut the power, right? And they'll send the person over the electric fence before anybody is any the wiser, right? And of course, without instructions from the superintendent or the person in charge, the other guards may not know what to do. There's no one to coordinate their efforts. Okay, so that's kind of what's happening here. Okay, okay, let's move on. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay, oh dear, oh dear. Okay, never mind. Right, let's move on. Have you all finished annotating? Are you all okay? Yeah, I'm trying to do minimal annotations. So now Barrett once again saw the confined cell that he knew so well. Concrete walls had been etched with tally marks. Let's annotate this part as well. Okay, so etched with tally marks, that's very telling. Okay, down here, etched with tally marks. Do you all know what this means? You all know, right? Okay, maybe Adrian, can you explain to us what is etched with tally marks?
It means like the wall have the you know the lines, right? To take
Okay,
to
what do the
count
lines
like a group of
represent?
lines. It represents the time.
Yes,
Like to be
mark
more
time, right?
specific,
Yeah.
the number of months his brother had left Barrett.
Yeah. So it could be the number of months, it could be the number of days that they've actually spent in there, but it's to mark the time. Okay. So the etching of the tally marks, right, is kind of like people scratching in the walls. And if there are so many marks, right, it's full of it, right? The concrete walls have been etched with tally marks, meaning it's full of all these marks. That means that probably there have been many prisoners, okay, who have been incarcerated. The word incarcerated is simply imprisoned. Okay. There are many incarcerated prisoners. Over time, this cell has been filled with many people who have spent many days, months, and years behind bars. Okay. So what does this tell you about the prison? It's very?
Oh,
Yeah, correct. Right. So this prison has obviously been around for quite a while for the walls to be filled, okay, with all of these marks. Indications of the number of months his brother had left his side. So in this case, right, this prisoner, right, is counting the number of months his brother is not with him. In other words, again, this implies something about the relationship between the brothers, right? What is the implication here? That he's counting down the number of days that he has not been with his brother. What is the implication of this particular point that they've raised? Clarice, would you like to try? What relationship do you think the brothers share?
can I pass?
Okay, never mind. It's all right. Dia, go ahead.
They had a really strong relationship.
Okay, they were very close, right? They were very strong relationship. Okay, and this relationship is obviously being expressed by how much the brother misses him, right? the idea that he's like scratching out the marks on the wall that show how many days he has been, right? Next, okay, he felt an intensification of hatred whenever he saw the old guard. All right, so this is very interesting, right? Okay. A perpetual scowl of contempt on his face, an intensification of hatred. Okay. So Barrett would have been able to brave the horrendous conditions of the prison camp together with his brother, if not for this man. Okay, so there has been some history here. Huh? We don't know what exactly has happened, but somehow this old guard has prevented the brothers from reuniting, right? Okay, something has happened in the past that has caused resentment to Barrett, even though we can see from paragraph 1 and 2, this old guard is trying to help him escape. Okay, and then over here in the second line of the next paragraph, there's this term make amends. Okay, can anybody explain to me what make amends actually means? It's pretty straightforward, right? When you make amends to someone, what are you doing? Anyone? Raise your hands if you know. Okay. Let's have Solomon then.
Is it like paying back the person?
Yeah.
for-
Okay. So you pay a debt, right? When you make amends, right? You pay a debt or you fix a wrong, right? Or you right a wrong. Okay. Right a wrong. That's better. Okay. Right. So you pay a debt or you right a wrong. In other words, there's some kind of disagreement or there's some kind of problem between the two parties that has caused the old guard to feel indebted to this particular character, Barrett. Okay, Barrett, okay. Right, then confounded by the vagueness of the escape plan. Okay, so let's underline this part. Confounded by the vagueness of the escape plan. Okay, what does this mean? Confounded by the vagueness of the escape plan. What is confounded? What is vagueness? Tanish, can you explain it to us?
Confounded means confused by
Okay.
the
Mhm.
confusing of the plan, not clear. Vagueness
Not
means not
clear.
clear.
Vagueness is not clear, right? So it's confusing because it's not clear how exactly he is going to escape.
Yes.
Okay. Right, thank you. Adrian, since you raised your hand, can you tell us how is this plan vague and confounding?
So first of all, there's a lot of things that could go wrong with this plan. And also a lot of this plan like depends on the old guy not messing up.
Okay, so I think one thing that's very clear is that there are many things that can go wrong, right? That's very good. I agree with you on that. And then the other thing, right, which we are not really very clear of, is that there is a sense of like things are not really very clear about what is going to happen after. So there's this idea that he's going to jump over the fence, right? But what happens after he jumps over the fence? Okay, there's no clear follow-up action, right, to be taken for his escape. In other words, when he climbs over the gate and then he lands on the other side, what's he going to do? Because when the searchlights come on and the people come out to search for him, is he going to be able to get away, right? Is there going to be an escape vehicle? Is there going to be somebody on the outside who will bring him and lead him out of the maze of the forest or whatever it is that is surrounding this prison camp? We don't know, right? Because there is nothing given in this plan about how he's going to actually escape from the prison compound, only to cross over the wall, okay? So many things can go wrong. There is a lack of clarity. There is no follow-up, okay? Right? No follow-up action, right? Okay. Have you all finished writing this down? I'll give you a minute, okay? Catch up. Then I'm gonna scroll up, right? When I scroll up, I'm gonna have to remove all the annotations. I'm very sorry. Okay, so please make sure that you catch up with the annotations, okay? Give me a thumbs up once you are ready so that I know how many of you are still in the process of doing your annotations. Yep, thank you. Can, okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yep, yep, yep. Okay, I see you. Okay, thank you. You can give me a physical thumbs up also, it's fine. I can see you. Yep. Claire, are you there? I can't really see you, sorry. Thank you. Right. Lucas, can't see you also. Can you please position your camera? Yep, thank you. Okay, Dior, please turn on your camera if possible. Thank you. Okay, I assume that most of you are done. All right, I see thumbs up across, whether physically or otherwise. Ryan, are you done with the annotations? No? Okay, I'll give you a minute more quickly. So far, do you understand the story? It's quite straightforward, right? It's about this prisoner who is trying to escape, and he's trying to escape so that he can join his brother. Okay, his brother has escaped. We don't know how his brother has escaped, but his brother has escaped, and he's trying to join his brother, and he's enlisting the help of this old guard, right, to help him to escape. And somehow something happened in the past. This old guard prevented him from escaping with his brother. So now this old guard is trying to pay him back by arranging for his escape. Okay, so that's the gist of the story up until this point. All right, if you understand it, then okay, thank you, Ryan. Then it becomes quite easy to answer the questions later on. Okay, so right, let me move this all the way up to finish up here. Let me just remove the annotations. Okay, let's go into the next level of annotations. Okay, so Olga gave a dismissive wave of his hand and fidgeted. Okay, sorry, dismissive wave of his hand and fidgeted. So you imagine he was like, nah, and then he like, he moved his body involuntarily. Now, what are these signs of? Right? When someone behaves in this manner to you, what kind of emotion is he signaling? Okay, yeah, Yuban, go ahead.
He's uncomfortable.
Yes, why do you think he's uncomfortable? Okay. Why do you think he's uncomfortable? Yuban say he's uncomfortable, I agree. Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe because he thinks he's asking a bit too many questions, or he doesn't want to know like the answer to the question.
So he doesn't know the answers to the questions. He thinks that Barrett's asking too many questions. Okay, possible. But I think there's something deeper going on here, right? Skylar?
If Barrett doesn't manage to escape, that will be the guard's responsibility.
So the guard himself is feeling nervous. Possible, Dia?
Maybe like he usually speaks very coldly towards Barrett, so he didn't feel comfortable talking a lot to him.
Okay, I guess, kind of. Solomon?
He's scared of not paying back the debt.
Yeah, so he's nervous or worried that the plan may not work. Okay, fine. Okay, I accept that. Okay, that'll be none of my concern. After tomorrow, I shall not be able to interfere in the affairs of the prison. I'll have no say in that. So there's something, again, very telling here. After tomorrow, I shall not be able to interfere in the affairs of the prison. I'll have no say in them. So this old guard is making this statement. Why do you think he's saying this? What's going on the next day? What's going on tomorrow? Right? What's so significant that's going on tomorrow that this old guard is referring to here? Clarissa?
He's resigning.
Okay, possible. Okay. Resigning, leaving the camp. So he has no ability to affect what's happening after tomorrow. Stephanie?
Retiring.
Okay, resigning, retiring. So can you all see the urgency, right? Obviously, this escape must now take place by tonight, because tomorrow, this old guard, who is the only person willing to help the author, is now no longer going to be able to help. So this point is very important to understand the urgency of the escape plan. Barrett struggled to make sense of the future he could possibly have. His entire 15-year-old life, okay, so 15-year-old life, 15-year life had been spent in the camp, okay? And he knew nothing of the world beyond the confines of the prison wall, okay? Barrett struck off thoughts of his uncertain future. Now, this is very telling. This person is 15 years old. Can you all see here? His entire 15-year life. He's 15 years old. 15-year-old in Singapore is Sec 3, right? Sec 3 age, and he has been in the prison all of his life. What kind of prison is this? That babies are put into prison and kept there for 15 years. Any idea? What kind of a prison is this? It's quite clear, right? Do y'all get the subtext here? Shani?
Nazis.
Okay, prisoner of war, right? So, well, whether it's Nazis or not, that's another question now, okay? But it's obviously not because Barrett has committed a crime. So he's not a criminal, okay? He's not a criminal. Because a criminal would have to commit a crime in order to be incarcerated. But this person has been in this prison all his life, and he's only 15 years old, which again is underage, right? So normal prisoners are adults, and they have committed a specific crime. So all of these clues should clue you into the fact that this is not a criminal, it's some kind of prisoner of war. Or like Shani mentioned, is this something to do with World War II, right? And how the Nazis would, incarcerate people because of their religion or because of their ethnicity and not because of the crimes that they committed. Adrian? Yep.
Maybe his parents were criminals and he was born there.
If his parents are criminals, right, and he was born into the prison, would he be a criminal? No, right, boys and girls? You all know in present age, there are criminals who are pregnant, especially women, of course, only women, sorry. And these women actually give birth in the prison, but their babies are then taken care of by the state, or they are returned to their relatives. The babies are innocent. So this is a very peculiar situation because this person is born into the prison and then remains in prison. In other words, this person is indicted and incarcerated on the basis of his identity, not the crimes he committed. So there's something here that, suggests that maybe this has to do with, like Shani said, maybe it's the Nazis or it's some kind of prisoner of war kind of situation, okay? So this is another interesting point. When we read, we must pay attention to such signposts, okay? Because such clues help us to understand the text a lot deeper, okay? He has no future simply because of his race or simply because of his ethnicity, right? His entire 15-year life in prison, no childhood, no education, no knowledge of what's going on beyond the four walls of the prison. And of course, this is literally what happened in many cases with prisoners of war, okay? And what do I get away without a hitch? What if I get away without a hitch? Okay, so without a hitch, I think you all understand. I'm just going to put down there. Without a hitch means without problems, okay? Without a hitch means you don't face any challenges in the course of doing what you're doing. Just by an ancient oak tree at the foothill. So this is the next step of the plan, right? There's more clarity coming. Just now, very vague. Don't know what happened immediately after he escapes, right? So now there's more, right? You'll find a compass and a bundle, navigate north with a compass, and then you reach the harbor. So there's some kind of escape. There's a ship that is bound for Denmark. Okay, you'll be safe there. Your boarding pass is in the bundle. Okay, so this is obviously going to be somewhere in Europe, okay? Because of Denmark, right? So what is to the south of Denmark? Many countries are. So we still don't know for certain which country this author is from, okay? But judging from his name, Barrett, it would probably indicate maybe France or England, okay? All of these countries are south of Denmark. Denmark is quite far to the north, okay? And if you study World War II, you'll realize that France and England were conquered by Germany during the Nazi occupation of Europe, okay? England was kind of like almost conquered, right? England was like under bombardment. France was completely taken over. Okay, so this person probably going to be from France, lah. Okay, right? The currents cut off, and then certain number of you will get away. Okay, iron shackles. Okay, he decided to seize the chance. Okay, so there's this idea that Barrett has come to a decision. Okay, he has come to a decision. Okay, he is going to attempt to escape, right? So that's basically what's happening. And again, a combination of factors has led to his decision, right? One, he has been 15 years in prison. Two, his brother is separated from him for many, many days or months or even years already. Three, the prison guard is about to leave, right? Retire, right? Resign. And without the prison guard, he will not be able to effect his escape. So these three reasons are the compelling reasons why Barrett has decided finally to seize the chance to, take whatever opportunity he has to escape. Okay, any questions? All clear about the passage? Then let's move on to answering the questions, shall we? I'll assign some of you some of the questions. You'll see whether you can answer, okay? Then we will try to locate where in the passage we can find the answer, all right? Okay, are you all done with the annotations? Can I erase it? Can I? Okay, I'm going to erase it. Okay, let's go. Right, so question number 1. Who would like to try? Easiest, question number 1. Okay, Adrian, number 1, Joshua, number 2. Okay, let's start us off first. Come. Adrian, number 1.
Preoccupied.
Sorry, what?
Preoccupied.
Preoccupied. Thank you. Yes, exactly. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm just going to write down here, preoccupied. Okay, please write that down, preoccupied. Can you please highlight the following clues? Okay, Barrett was completely absorbed in his own thoughts. Okay, Amelia, would you like to try number 3? Okay, Amelia, you try number 3. Okay.
It's because
Joshua?
I want to ask you if we can mark.
Oh, yes, please. If you've already done it, then mark lah. Okay. But if you haven't done it yet, then do it along with me. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for that clarification. Joshua, 72, please.
He etched tally marks on the concrete walls, indications of the number of months his brother had left his side.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Let me point out to you where I get the 2 marks. Okay. So the tally marks, right, is etched on the concrete wall. This is 1 mark. Okay. And then you have to explain what do these marks represent? Because just now, remember, I asked you all, like, what do these marks actually represent, right? They are markings of time, right? And in this case, they show how long he has been separated from his brother, or how long it has been since he has been at his brother's side. If you answered like Joshua, that's perfectly fine. If you can also possibly answer showing the passage of time. Showing the passage of time. Or time passing. Okay, so if you mention time passing, the marks representing the days or the months or the years, that is also a valid point. You don't have to link it to the brother because it's already in the question, right? The question already tells you the track of the time which passed, how he tracked the time that passed, okay? But the idea of time must be there. So the tally marks and then time. These will give you the 2 marks, okay? Very good. Amelia, go ahead.
The old guard separated Barrett from his brother, and do I have to add that he was a gaunt man with a perpetual scowl of contempt on his face?
Oh, definitely. That is part 2. So the old guard, can you repeat your first point again so we can all take note of it?
The old guard separated Barrett from his brother, and He was a gaunt man with a perpetual scowl of contempt on his face.
Hmm. Okay. Let me explain. Okay, so point number one is the separation, right? Remember 2 marks. I hope you all have highlighted the fact that it's 2 marks. So every time you have 2 marks, you must have 2 points. So the first point is the Ogard separated Barrett from his brother. That one is 1 point only. So Amelia, to your question, do I need to include the other one? Absolutely. Because it's a 2-mark question, right? You cannot simply have a 1-point answer to a 2-mark question. That is sure reason for you to lose marks. Okay? And then why does he hate the Ogard so much? Because of his appearance. He's always scowling. He has this scowl of contempt. Okay? He looks down on people. And that is precisely why Barrett hates the Ogard. Sorry, Dia, go ahead. Can't hear you, Dia.
I have a question.
Yep.
For like 2 mark questions, is
Hmm.
there always 2 points or is there only 1 point? And if there's only 1 point and we write an extra point, will there be minus marks?
Okay, good question all around. Let me answer that very briefly. Yes and no, unless the point that you write is contradictory to the first point. So yes, when there's 2 marks, there's always going to be 2 parts to your answer. Sometimes it may seem as if it's only 1 part, but within that 1 part, there may be 2 fragments, right? So you may think you've only written 1 thing, but actually in your 1 thing, there are 2 parts to it. That's fine, it still works. But as far as possible, try to look for 2 things. So let's say, like Dia asked, what happens if I already wrote the 2 things, but I thought I only wrote 1? Then I wrote something else. I wrote 1 extra thing. That's fine. As long as the third thing that you wrote does not contradict the first 2. So for example, if the first 2 points, right, is about how this person is very good and how this person is very kind, your third point cannot contradict your first 2 points. You cannot suddenly just say, oh, but, he is very nasty. Or, but he's very, I don't know, he's very irritating or annoying. So if your third point contradicts your first 2 points, then yes, you will be penalized. How much will you be penalized? 1 point. So your 2 point becomes 1 point. You will still get 1 mark. So your bad point kind of cancels out one of your good points. But if your third point is just some additional information that does not contradict your first 2 points, for example, and he's very handsome, for example, right? Doesn't contradict his kindness and his goodness, then it's fine. Like just now, Amelia's point, right? He was gaunt and he had a scowl of contempt on his face. His gauntness, his skinniness has nothing to do with why Barrett hated him, correct? But I will not penalize her for that, right? Even though she added that third point about him being gaunt. Gaunt means skinny, right? And it appears in the passage, right? But it's not the reason why Barrett hates him. People being skinny doesn't make people hate you, is my point. But looking down on people, having contempt, scowling at them all the time, that makes people hate you. Okay? So the 2 content points here are separated from brother and perpetual scowl of contempt. If you add the third point, gaunt, I will not penalize you. Next point. Question 74. Who would like to volunteer? Quick. We are going on a quick and good pace here. Okay, Dia, can you do 74? Can I have somebody else besides Skylar? Someone who has not yet answered. Okay, never mind. Dia, give us 74 first. So that I can write down.
Amends.
Okay, very good. Make amends. Yep, exactly. Thank you. Okay, enough said lah, right? So it's quite straightforward, So you notice that if you annotate the passage accurately and, with the key concepts and ideas, most of your questions will already be answered even before you get to the questioning part, right? So annotation to a certain degree is useful, but don't overdo it because you end up spending too much time, right? So today, what I'm showing you is like a streamlined version of annotation. Just look at all the main ideas, look at all the supporting details, focus on all the important points in the story that you know you are going to be asked questions about, right? All the dramatic points in the story, all the points of information, okay? Now I'm going to stop this and I'm going to go to the next part. Goodbye, annotations. Okay, let's go to 75 and 76, okay? 75 and 76, yes, Jairus. would you like to do 75? Solomon, would you like to do 76? Okay. Jairus, can you give us all the words lah? Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
The faceless man refers to the gatekeepers.
Good. Yep. Carry on.
Then it refers to the electric fence.
Yes.
And them refers to the affairs of the prison.
Sorry, hold on. That one I'm not very sure. Give me 1 minute. Okay, line 21. Okay, yeah, in the affairs of the prison is absolutely correct. Thank you very much. That's good. Okay, yes. Good. Thank you very much.